You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today, my special guest is Rubina Denji. She is an occupational therapist with 19 years of clinical experience across public and private practice. She has been spending many years with Health Services and in a private practice with the CBI. She brings deep expertise as a PGAP trained clinician and a functional capacity evaluator and life care planner. Passionate about lifelong learning, mentorship, and meaningful professional relationships. She approaches every service stream with curiosity, collaborations, and a commitment to excellence. It's a great pleasure to have her on the show today. Welcome, Rubina.
Thank you so much, Amy, for having me.
Yeah, very welcome. Very great pleasure to have you here. So, Rubina, I gave a quick overview of your success, but can you fill in the detail of what your business is all about?
Sure, I would love to. So, just briefly, we have an occupational therapy practice. It's called Abilities Occupational Therapy, and we are serving Albertans of all ages and stages of life. We help individuals achieve milestones in their life that lead them to better quality of life and more independence. So we provide services like driving evaluations. We do medical legal work in pediatrics and adults. We're starting a feeding clinic for infants. We have various contracts that we serve as well, like WCB Alberta, WorkSafe BC, and we work with a lot of independent medical evaluation firms, and as well as getting contracts and work through insurance companies for accident benefits and that sort of thing. But our services really started extending to the public domain, I would say about 2.5 years ago, when we decided to take our driving evaluation services public and not just offer them to private organizations, such as Workers' Compensation Board, but really extend it to the general public who we knew were waiting in really long wait times for being assessed for can they continue to drive because of their medical condition.
Okay, that sounds good. So, there are lots of competitions in medical industry. So what do you feel really sets you apart, and what comes naturally to you that maybe others find it challenging?
Well, I would say what's natural to me is that I love learning and growing and moving forward. That makes me naturally, I think, an innovative person. So I'm constantly looking at my surroundings and reading different books and observing trends and analyzing what remains and just kind of looking for different avenues to grow. I'm also led by passion, so I very much like to follow my gut, but also follow my heart. And somehow I'm able to kind of sense certain opportunities coming up and things that we should pursue and maybe not pursue. And really, I think it's all of those things that kind of come together that it just feels natural to me. I think what I bring that into my business as well. And it does differentiate us because we offer services that are niche, such as the medical driving evaluations, which were only being completed at the Glenrose in Edmonton and at the CAR program in Calgary previously. And then even starting the feeding clinic, that's something that's new to us. As an organization, we're always wanting to learn and grow our company. So we're always looking for different opportunities. And sometimes my thinking isn't the most conventional, which can serve as a competitive edge, I think. But having said that, I would say too, we do take calculated risks. So there are probably certain things that other therapists would think, I'm not going to do that. And if we feel it's a good idea for us after evaluating everything, and then we'll take the plunge if we really believe in it. And that's where that passion piece comes in. I think you really have to feel passionate about something to take that leap of faith. And we do that. very well, I think. And I guess for that reason too, we don't really look at competition. We try to look at opportunities for collaboration and appreciation because we know there are businesses out there that are maybe better equipped to do things that we can't. And we love their success and we celebrate their success as well. And so we're always looking for opportunities to collaborate, to work on goals mutually. And we come from this mindset that there's enough for everyone. There's more than enough for everyone. So when you do that, you don't really feel the need to compete for anything because you know there's enough work, there's enough everything, right? And that's kind of our mission is just to contribute to life in a positive and fundamental way.
Awesome. Well, I was wondering how you get into the medical industry, especially occupational therapy. Because there are so many different different the field in medical.
Yes, to be honest with you, I loved the arts, love it, and still love the arts. I loved writing as a child. I loved, drawing, and I wanted to be a fashion designer or a journalist. And my parents said, nope, there's no money in that. So you're going to go into something to do with medicine. They wanted me to be a doctor, but that was not the best choice for me. And I decided that, when it came time to get serious about what I wanted to do, um, I chose occupational therapy because I could see that it wasn't just a science, but there's an art behind it as well. And so that really appealed to the artist in me, I guess you could say. And that's really why I chose occupational therapy as a profession.
Oh, that's a very interesting story. It seems like you love being more creative, innovative, based on the also science and all the calculated risks as well, and then offering some creative solutions for your patients rather than just practice and repeat the already same treatments that is like cookie cutter kind of a treatment.
Yeah, we love that innovative piece. And I think that occupational therapy does encourage innovation, right? Different technologies come out all the time, like equipment to help people dress or even walk. My husband was actually telling me about an exoskeleton that's being built where it actually would allow people with spinal cord injury to walk. And it's just amazing the different things that are out there. And as an occupational therapist, we work a lot with different types of equipment and even high tech equipment. And so I think it's fantastic. I love that innovative side.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds awesome. So, anyone listening to who wants to improve health challenges, especially when it comes to occupational, challenges, then what would you tell them? How they approach and how do you find the help?
Well, come to Abilities Occupational Therapy. We would love to help you guys out. I think what you want to start off with is what is your goal, right? It could be as easy as I want to be able to feed myself, or I want my child to be able to feed themselves. And then it could be something as complex as I just had a spinal cord injury and I want to drive, and we'd be able to assess these individuals and to provide them solutions so that they can be independent in those tasks. So I think the first thing is really understanding what your goal is, because that's what any occupational therapist is going to want to know, so that we know how to plan our recommendations and how to kind of approach that problem the best way so that it allows that person to meet that goal or achieve that goal.
Could you give us some examples that some successful stories that they reached to you guys and then improve their life quality of life?
Yes, we've had so many people. Driving, I think, is the one that stands out the most in my mind. And the reason I say that is because when a person loses their license because of, a medical condition, it is very devastating to them because we do put so much importance on our license. And I have had people who are also elderly, so we do cognitive assessments as well as using a modified vehicle for our assessments. But we've had people who have come to us and said, I just need to be able to drive to the lodge where I can visit my wife, right? Or the seniors living where I can visit my wife. So I would say that the biggest success stories are the ones where we get to give that independence back to that individual. And we've had those kinds of things happen where they've been told they can't drive because of medical diagnosis and they need to be assessed by an occupational therapist and in a vehicle and all of that. And it's very difficult to find that niche area. So by providing that service, we've now restored safe independence to that individual whereas, we've done the thorough assessment and we've said, yes, this person can continue to drive. And now they can go to the lodge or the seniors living to visit their loved one. To us, it doesn't, we just think of it as a license, but really it's freedom. It's being able to see somebody that you love. It's emotional connection. It's so many things. It's great for the mental health. And I think those are the best success stories that I would be able to share. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story because I could imagine that, without being able to drive by myself and have to rely on someone or have to now have to give up that independency as part of my life, I think it will be very hard. So I think what you're doing sounds really amazing. And yeah, and what is the biggest, one of the biggest challenges you have had overcome in your career?
Oh, there's been so many, Amy. That's how we grow, right? Into where the people that we are. Um, I would say, I would say honestly, the biggest challenge was when I we were actually very reliant on a particular service and referral source. And when things kind of slowed down with that and it almost came to a stop, that was really an eye opener. And I would say it was a challenge, but it was the way that I approached it that made that challenge feel not great. Even though if you think about a business owner who is relying on a specific referral source for, say, even 65 or 50 or 75% of their revenue, and that suddenly stops, most people would probably panic, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I've been doing a lot of mindset work, and that's one of the things when I say that I like to learn and grow, and that also means personal growth and personal development. And the first thing that I did is, me and my husband sat down and we said, okay, this has happened, and what's all of the good that can come out of this situation? And we just wrote down all of the good things that could happen because of this thing that's happened to us, and we said, okay. So now we're in this mindset of we're feeling positive and great energy. And I said, let's write down every single solution we can think of. And what is the worst case scenario, right? Like worst case scenario, it's not going to kill us.
Yes.
We're still gonna survive. But we came from that mindset of, okay, it happened. Let's not put too much importance on it. Let's focus on what we need to do next and think of the good stuff that can come from this, right? And then we just wrote down all of our ideas, and then that's where the idea for the feeding clinic was born. So and we just got a contract with a daycare and kindergarten. So it's just things flow. And so I feel that, yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge that I've had to face, because it's your business. You're on your own. It's not like you're working for, Allied Health or like AHS where they can't just let you go, right? Or you always know where your paycheck is going to come from. So I would say that was the biggest challenge, but it was the mindset that got me out of that.
Wow, yeah. So how can you tell us a little bit more about your feeding care that because occupational therapy and how that feeding child care how they are related.
Yeah, so occupational therapists work. So this is why I say we are an occupational therapy company for all ages and stages of life because we don't want to turn anyone away. And if we ever do have to turn you away, I promise we're gonna send you in very capable hands to somebody else who can do it better than we can, or is doing it, and we're not. So, but yeah, occupational therapists work with kids as well. And one of the things is that they're pretty instrumental in a child's development if the child is having difficulties with development and are not quite on the same trajectory as their peers. And so an occupational therapist can go in and work on fine motor skills, gross motor skills, coordination, eye-hand coordination. We even do things for body awareness, sensory integration. So you'll see children who are autistic sometimes who have sensory needs, or they're sensory as aversive, so they don't like loud noises, for example. How do you work with a child who doesn't like loud noises and has to participate in a classroom full of 10 other children? Or maybe there are children who are seeking sensation, so they're constantly putting things in their mouth, or wanting to run around the room. So how do you kind of work with those children to help them regulate themselves? And with the feeding piece, that kind of all plays into it. We don't really realize all of the different systems that are in play when we eat food. And when you can do it, we take it for granted because a lot of those skills are just automatic, but they don't necessarily feel automatic to a child who is, neurodevelopmentally delayed or neurodiverse, or what have you. So we do work with kids as well.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah, I just learned so much today that occupational therapy can be very a wide range that covers a lot of range of ages of people in their stage of the different various stage of in their life as well. So that's awesome. So it sounds like things are going really well for you and your business, and congratulations. And many busy medical professionals are earning strong incomes right now, but it often requires a significant investment of time and energy. So looking ahead, a common goal is to maintain that same level of income and lifestyle while working less, especially with inflation at all-time high. So as a result, many people are exploring ways to generate income outside of their primary work. So such as investing in stock and crypto or precious metal or real estate. What are your thoughts about income outside of work?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I feel like we always talk about diversifying our portfolio when we're investing in stocks. Why not diversify your investments, period? Like not just looking at stocks, but looking at other things as well. And I think that if, we tend to feel like I'm a doctor, so that's all I can do is just be a doctor, and all of my ideas have to be around medicine and that sort of thing, but not necessarily. If you have the financial means and if you can get grants or you can, look at other avenues for investing in something. If you're investing in a business or a nonprofit, or, I mean, of course, nonprofit would be a little different because you're not going to be making money off of that. But I think that looking at other avenues for income is a fantastic idea. We're constantly looking at other opportunities as well, just for passive income. And there are a lot of ideas and opportunities out there. If it means that that helps you to work less, then I think we always hear about different income streams, right? You want different streams of income. And I think the more streams you have, the less you actually have to work. When people think that, oh, it's going to be so much work, but if it's truly passive income, then there isn't a whole lot of, legwork that's needed initially. And sometimes there is, and that's okay too, because you can start working on a new project. And once it's up and running and you know it, you can hand it off to someone else. And then you start working on another project.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for insight for financing advice. So like personal experience, right? So as we are wrapping up our interview, what exciting plans of initiative do you have coming up over the next 6 and 12 months?
So we're going to be launching our feeding clinic, which I'm really excited about. But we're also going to be doing ADHD coaching.
ADHD coach.
Yes, and we're also going to be working on a framework for pediatrics. It's called the Abilities Occupational Therapy Transition Bridge Framework. So it really helps and looks at how do we support children when they're going through a transition from one activity to another, because that can often become challenging for children who are neurodiverse. So we'll be working on a framework around that. And for the ADHD coaching, I don't know if you noticed, Amy, but I have ADHD. And I'm
Oh,
also an occupational therapist by background. And so I kind of thought that doing ADHD coaching would be a really great adjunct service that we can provide to adults, young adults. I especially want to work with kids who are in school, because some of the things that I've learned as an occupational therapist and as somebody with ADHD, I didn't learn until I was in university. And those skills and that knowledge would have really helped me, I think, when I was in even, elementary, junior high, high school. And so I'm really interested in working with that age group because we want to set them up for success. Because once you get to university, it almost feels like sometimes it feels like it's a little too late. So how do we instill those skills and that knowledge in these kids earlier on?
wow, that's a very interesting, very exciting plans because I these days I learn more and more of cases that people are going through the challenges because of that ADHD. And you're right. I think a lot of people, even old generation or our generation, that we did not know what we are dealing with, and we thought we are something wrong or we are very different than others, and we didn't get any how can I say solutions or something that we can try to make that better. So, and especially you just mentioned, I didn't personally notice that you have ADHD,
Thank you.
but I couldn't tell. But you were very focused, and like I couldn't tell any of this. But I also learned that there's very like a wide range of symptoms when it comes to ADHD too. And sometimes I hear a lot of things that they only get the those medicine rather than so much other alternative solutions. So I
Yeah.
wonder, is there something? Can you tell us a little bit more? What kind of solutions available for ADHD other than just taking, pills? If
Yeah,
someone wanted to explore some alternative solutions.
yeah, I think that there are definitely alternative solutions. Personally, I do take medication, but I didn't start doing that until probably about 4 years ago. Up until then, I was just using strategies. It wasn't until I wanted to really build my business that I thought, okay, I'm having some difficulties switching between tasks and keeping my focus for longer periods of time, which some of the tasks demanded, and that's why I made that decision. But up until then, I was using strategies. So you know, I think that. See, now I'm going off topic, and I'm this right now. So basically, the strategies I think are really good to help children. I think that we should start with strategies first before we look to medications. And that's where occupational therapists can really help, or even an ADHD coach would be a better idea to see if that's going to help your specific child, right? Because I find that ADHD is also almost on a spectrum where it's not, some people will have it really severe ADHD and some people won't have it as badly, but it doesn't mean they're not struggling with things. So it's really finding that like what works for that individual. But I always believe that you should start with strategies first. Medications should come at the very end, if absolute,
Mhm, mhm.
right?
So
Or always
how
a quick fix.
Oh, sorry. So how does that differentiate that somebody has ADHD and looking for help? And go through the typical route, see a doctor rather than like seeing a coach actually. So can you tell us that how it can give a little bit different, path or different solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so far I've been doing the coaching training, and it's very much a strengths-based approach. So yes, there are things that the individual is struggling with, and there are strategies to help them with that. But it's also how do we harness and utilize the strengths so that it helps that person to be successful. Whereas I think in the medical field, we tend to pathologize things. So it's like, okay, we have ADHD now, and so how do we fix that? And it's kind of given this stigma that it's it's bad, and people can internalize that into thinking, okay, well then that must be that there's something wrong with me. I can't do this. I'm less than. I'm bad. Whereas with ADHD coaching and even occupational therapy, the idea is to really empower that individual to say, yeah, you've got some difficulties, but there are ways that you can overcome that, or we can compensate for it, and look at the strengths that you have as well. And it's focusing and shifting the mindset, right? And you'd mentioned that I've done PGAP training. So PGAP is Progressive Goal Attainment Program. And one of the things Dr. Sullivan, is a psychologist, developed that PGAP, and he was saying that mindset is you can see a 20 to 30% improvement in someone's condition just by their mindset changing. That's huge.
That is huge. I believe that maybe it could be even more, if not that.
I think so too. I think so too. And so I think that's the difference between going to see the doctor, and then they make you do the checklist, and then you take some medication if you need it. And then, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But even if you're on medication, there's still value to seeing a coach, because medication doesn't make everything go away. It helps to manage symptoms, but you still need to know how to cope with certain things, right? And I think that's something that people do struggle with who have ADHD is their coping skills. So there's still room to work with someone like an occupational therapist or an ADHD coach, even if you're taking some medication, because like I say, it doesn't fix everything. So even with depression, right? When you take antidepressants, they recommend that you also do like some sort of a therapy alongside it, because it doesn't solve all of your problems.
Yes, I love your story. It's so beautiful and powerful because you tried to solve your own problems and ended up you find a solution that works really good, and then now it could help many other people's too. So you didn't stop just just solving your own problems. You stepped up, and then you put more effort into it, and then make a solution for other people too, and then benefit other people too. So that's a very powerful story. I love it.
Thank
Thank you. So thank you, Rubia. It was a great pleasure having you on the podcast and hearing you share your insights and experience with us. So we truly appreciate your time and perspective you brought to the conversation. So if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, how they can find you?
Absolutely. I am on LinkedIn, and we also have our website. It's www.myabilities.ca.
Awesome. Thank you, Rubia, for today.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, bye-bye.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.